Let's be revolutionary. Yeah, we can be so much more. Let's be more than ordinary.
Level. So here we go. The first and what I consider to be the most important is clarity. Let's face it, we know that the more clarity you have, the better you perform. You're more purposeful. You just get stuff done and make things happen. Opposed to when you have no clarity on what the end goal is and you spin around in circles, trying to convince yourself and others that you are so extremely busy. Now, I won't lie, this one was really tough for me. I struggled for years with this one. I'd been told for years by coaches that in order to have the drive and passion I needed to succeed at a really high level, I had to have my big why. I would sit through class after class that would refer to my big why. I wasn't even sure I needed a big why. I mean, I had a good business, made decent money, traveled, all that stuff. I should have been content, but I knew there was more. Now, please, don't misunderstand me. I, of course, had reasons for doing what I did and for having my goals, but it never seemed special or big enough. I, of course, wanted to give my son everything. I wanted to live a great life with nice things and have low stress. But doesn't everyone want that? Was it enough? I didn't know. It's not like I was building schools for children in Africa or building a foundation. Here was the other piece of that struggle. Every class, they would have us write out our big why, and then have a few people share theirs if they were comfortable in doing so. Of course, only the people that were inventing water purification systems in Nairobi ever shared. The rest of us, we just kind of sat there, tried to look like we had it all under control, and we just wanted to keep our big plans a big secret. I don't mean to be sarcastic, but I just never thought I had it figured out. But hold on. I was absolutely positive at that time that I was the only one in the room that didn't get it. But now that I do get it and I help others figure out how to get it, I know I was not alone. Most of the rest of the room was feeling the same way. Okay, so what made the light bulb come on? I finally realized that it was okay and actually much more attainable to have numerous whys for different parts of my life. In this way, they can be measurable and have a process. Not to say that the huge whys of saving something or someone didn't have a place, but that one huge why may not fulfill my needs or desires in all the areas of my life. In this way, I was able to have whys that gave not only to my son or my clients, but also to me. By doing this, it provided more successes, a well-rounded life, and now I could have a big giant why that I could wrap my head around. So what does that look like? Well, maybe for you, finding clarity in your personal relationships would be one area. Another might be your business or career, while health might be another, and the list builds from there. I can't answer that question for you. But if you write out your own categories, you will quickly be able to define what critical areas in your life are markers for your future success and happiness. Number one, I'm going to start with the one that most people leave for last because they carry great guilt over having someone else shoulder these responsibilities. In my opinion, though, this can be one of the greatest opportunities to give yourself some personal freedom, which in turn can give you more quality time with family and friends. So I'm sure that you figured out where I'm going with this. Yep, the things around your own home. I would bet if I could see you right now and I ask you how many of you spent your weekend doing yard work, cleaning the house or cleaning the garage, that a pretty large majority of you would have to admit that that was you. Don't get me wrong. If you love to do those things and it is your passion, it's your pride, and at the end of the weekend you have the cleanest bathroom in your subdivision, then you just keep at it. I know, I may sound like I'm poking fun, and I don't mean to, but truthfully, there are very few people that when I ask that question, they sit up taller with their chin held high and shout out, "I do!" No, most people actually drop their shoulders and their chins and raise their hands as if you had just made them confess to stealing the last cookie out of the cookie jar. I will tell you that if you make a list of the tasks that must be done in your personal life and you highlight the ones that can easily be done by someone else, you're going to be amazed how few things are left that you absolutely have to do personally. You truly should make this list, and don't think about who's going to do the tasks and if it'll cost you money or where you might find these people. Just make the list. Once you have that list made, then go through and think about who you could recruit to do some of these items. If cost is what is stopping you, then think a bit deeper. Do you know kids that could step up? Or maybe even neighborhood kids that can be hired extremely inexpensively? Even if you could just take one or two of the things off your list for now, wouldn't that be a drastic time saver? Then as time moves forward, you'll often find ways to leverage out those other pieces. The one thing that I know about fear is that it tends to get way overplayed. Often we're afraid of what we make up in our minds might happen. For example, maybe you want to plan a camping trip, but you've never camped. You tell your friends and family and they immediately throw back at you, "Oh, I do not think that is a good idea. You should really think about that. You know, there's bears out there, really big ones. You know, a friend of mine heard about a bear attack. You have your bear spray, right?" Okay, well, when this happens, our brains go crazy. And all of a sudden, we are fearing the entire bear family savagely attacking us and taking us back to their bear den to show off to all of their bear friends. What we have forgotten is the reason we wanted to go camping in the first place: for the beauty, the fishing, the tranquility. We know that anything new or unknown can carry a certain level of fear with it. That's part of the growth. So let's look at the people in your life who show up every day. They have your back and they can feel your dreams. How does that feel? If you're like most of us, it brings even a higher level of excitement and joy to the things that you love. They're a catalyst that takes you to the next level without even trying. Let me ask you this. Are you that person that's super motivated, ready to try the next new thing or even create the next new thing, and you want the support of those around you? I see this all the time. People that are so excited for the next great adventure in their lives, just to have a friend, coworker, or family member react in such a way that they walk away from what could have been an amazing, uplifting conversation filled with energy turn into one that makes them second guess their goals or their dreams. This is so sad, and in my opinion, it's super selfish and mean. I mean, these are supposed to be our biggest supporters and our cheerleaders, our friends and our families. So why do the negative people sneak into our lives and embed themselves in a place where, if we're honest with ourselves, they're truly not welcome? Because we're human, and relationships are not always those of our choosing initially. Sometimes we don't realize what negative energy someone brings to the table until we feel like it's too late to make a change, or we don't feel like it's appropriate to fire them from our circle. It may even be a close family member that's a parent or a sibling that we're going to likely be a part of our lives at some level. This must be where the saying came from that says we don't get to pick our family. As cruel as that can sound, it is the truth. But what is really cool is that we do get to pick who we spend the majority of our time with. So common sense and just the fact that we need to be nice says that we cannot and should not make a list of all the people in our lives and just start crossing off anyone that may not be exactly in alignment with our level of optimism or personal growth. This is simply not realistic, and quite frankly, it's a little harsh. What we have to realize, though, is that likely you're going to have those people in your world that would not be your first choice to motivate and support you, but that's okay. We need to still appreciate these people and appreciate that they will have a space in our lives, but we get to decide how big that space is. Another way to look at it is that even though we know that we cannot change these people unless they have a desire to change, we may just rub off on them a little bit. I've experienced this personally, as I have a family member who's extremely negative and who literally called me Pollyanna. I'm not going to lie, it pissed me off. Like I was the one who was a bad person because I chose to look at the positive side of every situation that I can. Really? However, a couple years have passed, and not only did she apologize for that remark, she actually is coming around to agree with me when I point out the positive points of what could be a negative situation. Now, I don't know if she's just rolling over or if I'm actually making some progress. I choose to think maybe I'm getting to her. Next step, though, is for her to find the positives on her own. So Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is taking breaks. Those hourly breaks. You need to be able to take a break like every 50 minutes, maybe it's 75 minutes for you. You'll know what works for you. Take a short break, get water, get food, do a little stretching, whatever that looks like for you. It doesn't have to be a long break, 2 to 5 minutes. It's been proven with millions and millions of high producers that they take a break on the average every 52 minutes. Again, it doesn't matter how long that break is. It can be very short, but pushing through doesn't let you recharge and you get brain burn. Nothing great comes from extended work. You need to be able to reset.
Let's be revolutionary. Yeah, we could be so much more.